Ever wonder what it takes to turn a good person into something else entirely? Well, the 2015 neo-noir thriller Badlapur gives us one heck of an answer. This isn't your typical revenge flick. Oh no, this is a deep, dark dive into what happens when the line between justice and vengeance just disappears. The film basically lays it all out for you with this one chilling line. You will see a decent boy become a stone-hearted killer. And believe me, that's not just some clever marketing. It is the entire, brutal journey of our main character, Raghu. We watch him get pushed and pushed until he becomes the very monster he's hunting. All right, so how does a story like this even begin? Well, for Raghu, his entire world didn't just crumble, it was obliterated in a single, horrifying moment. Picture this, a normal day in Pune. Suddenly, chaos. Two guys, Liak and Harman, have just robbed a bank and they're desperate to get away. The car they choose to hijack? It just so happens to be carrying Raghu's wife, Misha, and their little boy, Robin. Just like that, in a flash of terrible luck, a family's entire future is wiped out. And the fallout? It's just brutal. Misha shot, their son, Robin, falls from the car. The police manage to catch one of the guys, Liak, but the other one, Harman, gets away with all the cash. Raghu gets a call at work, rushes to the hospital, and has to watch his wife die. In just a few hours, everything he loves is gone. And this, right here, is where the real story kicks off. Because Raghu's grief, it doesn't just go away. It sticks around, and it gets ugly. It morphs into this cold, all-consuming obsession. Find the other guy, Harman, no matter what it takes. Now, this is not one of those movies where the hero immediately goes on a rampage. No, this is a slow burn. We're talking 15 years. 15! After Liak goes to prison, Raghu packs up and moves. He basically exiles himself to this town called Badlapur, and trust me, that name is important. For a decade and a half, he just waits. And his anger, it just crystallizes into something incredibly patient and way, way more terrifying. So you have to understand, the Raghu right after the tragedy is a wreck. He's just a grieving husband. But the Raghu we meet 15 years later, he's a completely different person. The raw emotional pain is gone, replaced by this ice-cold, methodical drive. He's given up on the idea of justice. Now, it's all about pure, simple, brutal vengeance. And that's really the core question here, isn't it? After 15 years, is what you're doing still about justice? Or has the need for revenge become this separate thing, a beast that's just eating you alive from the inside out? So, after all that waiting, Raghu finally gets his chance. Turns out, Liak is in prison, dying of cancer. And his mother comes to Raghu with a deal, a pretty wild one. She says, if you pardon my son so he can be released, I'll give you the name of the other guy. And just like that, Raghu has it. Harman. And what Raghu does next is just chilling. He finds Harman, who's now living the good life as a restaurant owner. But he doesn't just storm in. No, he's way smarter than that. He sets up a chance encounter with Harman's wife, Kanchan. He becomes their friend. He worms his way into their life, getting closer and closer, all while hiding who he really is. The psychological torture starts way before any physical violence. Finally, the day comes. They invite him over for lunch. But this is no friendly get-together. It's the end game. Raghu drops the act and forces them to face what they did all those years ago. He plays these vicious mind games, pitting them against each other, making them feel even a fraction of the horror he's felt for 15 years. And then, it's over. He murders them. Both of them. With a hair. Harman and his wife, Kanchan. Two people. His 15-year wait is finally done. Revenge accomplished. But wait, if you think that's the end of the story, you are so wrong. Because this is Badlapur. Just when Raghu thinks he can finally breathe, the movie hits him and us with a twist that changes absolutely everything. And it comes from Liak. So Raghu goes to Liak, tells him what he did, that he killed Harman and his wife. And Liak just looks at him and drops a bombshell. He says, it wasn't Harman who killed your wife. I did. It was his gun that went off by accident. Harman never fired a shot. Just let that sink in. Yes, Harman was guilty of robbery, but he didn't kill Misha. And his wife, Kanchan, she was 100% innocent. Raghu's entire life for the past 15 years, this quest for vengeance that defined him, was all based on a lie. He killed the wrong man's wife. And this is where that title, Badlapur, gets really clever. See, it's not just a name on a map. Badla literally means revenge. Pur means city. So it's Revenge City. It's not just where Raghu went, it's what he became. It's that place you go mentally when you cross the line from victim to killer. Okay, so with that devastating truth out in the open, the story heads for its final, haunting, and incredibly ironic end.
The cops start sniffing around Raghu and you think, okay, this is it, he's caught. But then something absolutely insane happens. Like how the actual criminal walks into the police station and confesses to the murders Raghu committed. Why? Well, he's dying of cancer anyway. He says he wants to give Raghu a second chance and maybe, just maybe, let his own mother be proud of him for one thing before he dies.
I mean, think about that reversal. It's insane. The killer becomes the savior. The victim becomes the killer. Layak, the guy who started this whole mess, sacrifices himself for the man who just murdered his partner. And Raghu, the good guy, is now a killer who's only free because of the criminal he hated. The lines between good and evil, they're not just blurred, they're gone. And that's where the film leaves us, with this one final, haunting question for Raghu. Your revenge is complete, right? What now? He got what he thought he wanted. He's free. But he's also completely empty. He knows who destroyed innocent lives and was saved by a guilty one. So what now? What do you do after revenge has taken everything from you again? That's the chilling thought that Badlapur leaves you with.